Kamala Harris has revealed her vice presidential pick. The Minnesota Governor Tim Walz joined her campaigning in Pennsylvania, where he formally accepted the Democratic nomination to join the ticket. With more analysis, joining us now is the head of KPMG's Geopolitics hub, Dr. Merriden Varrall. Merriden, good to see you. Thanks for your time. Why do you think it is that Kamala Harris chose Walz over the person who'd been seen as the main front runner, Josh Shapiro?
There's so much to this story, Ash. It's so much bigger than just what's happening in the US. And that's what makes it so fascinating, because there's a whole lot of broader global geopolitical issues that are playing out in American society and American politics. And Harris's choice of running mate has to reflect an answer to these broader geopolitical issues. And in particular, the way in which globalisation is being experienced by the everyday person in US society. There's a lot of a sense of marginalisation, being left behind, and anger and mistrust among so much of the American population. And so what that means is that people move away from the centre of politics. They move to the extreme left, they move to the extreme right, and that's very fertile ground for populist leaders to come in and say, we can solve this for you, we're not part of the elite, you can trust us. So this is the context in which Harris has to pick someone to run by her to try and bring people back to the centre. She has to try and bring people away from those edges, back into the centre of politics, to get them out to vote, to believe that politics can serve them and can solve their problems again. And this is where Tim Walz comes in. He's such a quintessential, everyday, kind of nice guy. You know, yesterday 70% of the American population had never heard of him. Today he's the running mate of the Democratic presumptive nominee.
Now, we're talking about coming back to the centre. I see Republicans are already attacking Walz as being left of left and too progressive. But when we look at the polls more broadly, just how tight are they suggesting this race is going to be?
Getting tighter by the minute. Absolutely. Harris is bringing up that gap and coming in a lot closer to Trump. So it's really looking like a much more exciting race than it looked like it was going to be even 2 or 3 weeks ago. And of course, Walz's choice here is a part of that, and we'll see how it plays out. But, you know, his identity as being from Minnesota, a kind of daggy dad, he has a cat, he has kids, he's just a really average kind of guy, is really trying to counteract exactly what the Republicans are saying. You know, you're an extreme left, you're radical, you're dangerous. He's just trying to paint himself, and Kamala Harris is trying to paint him as just a really normal, average guy, just like all of the other people in America who feel so disenfranchised right now.
Meantime, Merriden, I know you've been keeping an eye on the stock market volatility we've seen in recent days. Are things appearing to settle down now, and how could that sort of feed into the political situation we're seeing in the US and also trickle down here at home?
Yeah, so I mean, it is seeming to start to settle down, and it was triggered by a perception, a fear that the US economy was in ill health. And again, of course, immediately, straight away, this is being politically weaponised in the US election campaign. For example, former President Trump coming out on Truth Social saying, you know, this is all Kamala's fault, she doesn't know what she's doing. Again, trying to really make this about identity, to dig into that kind of polarisation, political and social polarisation, and to use it as a weapon for gaining advantage.
Dr. Merriden Varrall, really appreciate you joining us with your analysis. Thanks so much for your time.
Thanks for having me, Ash.